Hello, and welcome to the first podcast episode of Muay Ying. Today we have Summer Bronco on the show to talk about fight-life balance. Summer Bronco just turned 18 not even a week ago, right, Summer?
Yeah, literally like 5 days ago.
Yeah, like 5 days ago. And, she has a lot of experience under her. She's a two-time IFMA Youth Medalist, so before she even turned 18, she already had this accomplishment. And on top of that, she's the first ever youth to win the WBC amateur belt in the US. Welcome, Summer. Thanks for coming.
Hi, it's nice to talk to you.
Yeah, for sure. So our topic of discussion for this episode is going to be fight-life balance. Now, you're someone who has been fighting and training for so long. Like, can you just tell us about like how you started and how old you were when you started?
Yeah, for sure. So, I kind of started with martial arts when I was 6. I wouldn't really say it was like Muay Thai. I was kind of just at this gym, and it was kind of like a self-defense gym. So I kind of started like my martial arts journey there. After that, I thought that I knew Muay Thai and decided to do a Muay Thai fight, and clearly that did not end well for me. So after that, I actually met my current coach now, Jose, and from there, it's history.
Okay, so cool. So you've been training martial arts for 12 years now,
Yes.
and you've been training Muay Thai for pretty much close to that as well,
Yeah,
right?
about 10 years.
Okay, so what was your experience like just growing up within the fight community? Because, wait, how old are you when you had your first fight?
I had my first fight when I was like 8, and then I won my first championship belt at 10.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you pretty much just grew up within the fight community. What was that like?
Um, Pretty scary, to be honest. Like, I don't know. It's kind of intimidating, especially like as a little kid. But I mean, yeah. It's fun though, because you don't really think about like winning or losing. You kind of just go in there and you just kind of like you just fight and you just train, and it's just kind of like it's just like another sport to you. Now I kind of feel the pressure because I'm a little older and I gotta take it a little more serious. But like as a kid, I kind of just like had fun. I was just like training and fighting and. But yeah, I just kind of had fun when I was like back then, and growing up, it's much different than it is now. You know what I mean? Like I feel like Muay Thai is like very much evolving every year. It's much different than what it is now, but I feel like I started Muay Thai at the right time.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Like, for me, I'm gonna be 30 in a few months, and I'm looking at the youngsters like you. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, you guys have all these opportunities that a lot of us, in this current generation and even the generation of fighters before us,
Yeah.
just never had. And it's really good. It's really good. Just shows how far the sport has come.
Oh yeah, for sure.
When it comes to like fighting, was this something that you're like, hey, mom and dad, I want to try this, or was it something that your parents were just like, just make her do it and see how how she goes?
Well, I feel like a lot of people don't know what Muay Thai is. You know what I mean? So I obviously didn't know what like Muay Thai was. So pretty much at the time when I was going to school, a couple of my friends were doing martial arts, not necessarily Muay Thai, but they were just doing some sort of martial arts, and I just thought it was really cool. So I was like, yeah, I want to do that. That seems really cool, and that's why like I didn't necessarily start off with Muay Thai. I went to just like a regular martial arts gym. I think the gym like had like judo, jiu-jitsu, and then like striking. So that's kind of what I did in the beginning. But yeah, from there, after that, I transitioned to Muay Thai, and yeah.
Okay, so backtracking a little bit to like growing up within the sport, like were you always training every day ever since you started training Muay Thai? Because I know now you're pretty regular at the gym, like you train anytime there is training pretty much.
Yeah, I did. Pretty much any time that I had a fight coming up, which as when I was little, I always had fights. I felt like I always had fights because it was really easy to get fights, especially like when you're little, and a lot of girls at the time were like my exact weight, so it was easy to like pair up fights and stuff. So Yeah, I was pretty much consistent with training, and I was 11 years old, running on the streets, and training like a professional, like an adult. And I feel like that's really helped the way I train now, because I've always been training like that.
Okay. Well, do you think that like training like that from such a young age has helped you with other aspects of your life
I
in any
think so.
way?
I think growing up that way has helped me stay disciplined, not just like in Muay Thai, but like through anything, not giving up and working hard. Um, there's always moments where you feel like you want to give up or you want to stop, but like I guess growing up in that mindset of staying disciplined and staying consistent, I've always kept that mindset. So
Yeah, yeah. I've learned so many life lessons through like training and
yeah,
fighting and stuff that like I feel like because I'm a fighter, I've become a better
oh
version of
yeah,
myself just from the life lessons that
yeah,
I've learned. Not even just the fights themselves, but just everything from the fights
oh
that I
yeah.
could extract. So, what does your training regimen look like when you do have a fight? Like, how many hours in a week are you training?
Well, actually, starting my last fight, I have been starting to do yoga. I've noticed that has been helping with my flexibility and as well as like controlling my breathing. Because when I train, I suck at like controlling my breathing. Like I just like I don't you don't think about breathing, but it's like really now that I think about it and like now that I'm really focusing on it, it's like really important when you're training, you're fighting, is to focus on your breath, because if you don't focus on that, you're gonna get tired. So I feel like yoga has really helped me like focus on my breath and like take deep breaths and stuff like that. But obviously like it's helped with my flexibility, and yoga's a lot harder than people think it is. It's really hard. So I do yoga, and then I do running. I do miles. Some days I'll put in 3. Some days I'll put in 5. And then on the weekends I'll put in like longer ones, 5, 6. But I do running, and then at nighttime I always do 2-hour practices, 3-hour practices, like sparring, hitting pads. I also do strength and conditioning during the day. I do it 2 times a week. Um, it consists of cardio work and just like basic lifting and stuff like that. So I do a
Yeah.
lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So you just graduated from high school
No, I
this year, yeah?
graduate next year. Next summer.
You graduate next year, so you're still a
I
high
am
school
still, yeah.
student. How do you, yeah, so how do you manage to do all of that while you're in fight camp on top of like being in school? Because, being in school is not like a 1 or 2
Yeah,
hour thing, it's like a
for
whole
sure.
day thing.
It's really hard. Like I feel like when I'm in fight camp and I gotta do school and I have to train, it's hard to like, find time in the day to do all that, you know what I mean? But obviously when you're dedicated to something, you find time to do stuff. But I it can be hard sometimes. Like after school, I go straight to strength and conditioning, or I go straight to running, you know what I mean? So everything that I do is like really back to back. But yeah, like I'll wake up, I'll go to yoga, and then I'll go to school, and then after school I'll go to strength and conditioning, and then I have that little break, and then after that I'll go to practice. I'll go to the gym until 8, 9 o'clock at night, and then I'll come home, do some homework if I have it, and then go to sleep.
And then do your
Yeah.
homework. Yeah.
So it's hard.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Sometimes I finish training and then I come home and I'm like, oh, I have to write. And it's like, I just don't have
And
the
then you're
brain
like, oh,
power
I'll
to
do it
like
tomorrow.
do anything. Yeah. Like a lot of people think that like training, it just takes you out physically, but it really
Yeah.
takes you out
Hmm.
mentally as well. Like there's a lot
Oh
of
yeah.
thinking
Yeah, for
involved.
sure. It just like it drains you, honestly.
Yeah. So yeah. And also, I remember when we met when I went to
Yeah.
Virginia last month. You also have a part-time
I
job,
do.
right?
I make acai bowls.
Yeah.
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 But
You almost
I
made me
know.
one.
Yeah, so it's really hard, especially during
So
fight
it's,
camp.
between,
Like I have to balance out work too,
yeah,
which is hard.
yeah, yeah. But, you're trying to balance all this responsibility and with the work, I'm sure it's like I'm sure part of it is like you being at your age, you want to like go out and do stuff with your friends, which is kind of why you need the money, right? But then given what you just told me, how do you even have time to like spend with your friends?
I really don't know. Well, like, it's funny because like last week I had like that little break week to go out with my friends and like eat all the junk food. So yeah, I just fought 2 weeks ago, and then I had last week to have fun. And then this week I'm right back in fight camp. But like last week I was just like with my friends like literally almost every day, and I was like, we got to do something every day, guys. Like we got to make the best of this week because I'm gonna unfortunately disappear again for the next couple weeks because I have to get ready for fight camp. But I have really supportive friends, and I've actually lost like a lot of friends in the past due to the fact that I'm sometimes not around, and sometimes they didn't understand that, you know what I mean? But I have...
And what has that taught you about friendship?
It's taught me that true friends will be supportive of you no matter what, and they'll wait for you to come back, So I have good friends now. I have a good little group, a non-toxic group, and yeah, and they're really supportive. When I fought 2 weeks ago, they like bought the live stream and they were like screaming and like freaking out when they're watching. I know, yeah. So yeah, I have really great friends and they're really supportive, and they've always been like super supportive of like me fighting and me not being around all the time when they go hang out, and they're understanding and they want to be there for me through it because they know that it's tough. They know that like training can be super tough. They know that fighting can be super tough. So they're really supportive, and whenever I come back after fight camp or after I fight and I'm like, hey guys, what's up? It's been a while. They're really supportive, and we make the best of the time we have when we have it. So
as you say, it's quality over quantity, and that's interesting that you say that because you're at 18, you're like, oh, okay, the people who are willing to like respect my passions and what I'm putting all my time and energy into, they're still going to be my friends. They're my true friends. Some people, they don't learn that until like their mid to late 20s. Like I'm pretty sure that when I was your age, I thought that everyone I was friends with, I was still going to be friends with, and that's really not the case. Your friend group just kind of like dwindles through the years,
Yeah, for sure.
And it's also gotten to the point where I remember when I was just training and in fight camp so much before I moved over to Thailand, I just lost contact with so many people that were not within the community. So, this group of friends of yours, it seems like they're not involved in the community aside from being a supporter. What's that like? Is it nice having that that difference and not have to think about Muay Thai for a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously Muay Thai is my life, and I have such a passion for it, but like it's also very draining. It's mentally draining, and you need that break, and I've learned that like it's okay to take a break from it, you know what I mean? So yeah, I mean it's nice to kind of take a slight break when I'm with them, and talk about normal 17, 18-year-old girl things, and talk about school and talk about drama, like it's nice to do the normal things sometimes. But like, even though, like I said, even though I still have a passion for Muay Thai, it's nice to take that small little break just to be a normal teenage.
We all need breaks. Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I think I was in Thailand for a few years, and I tried hanging out with people who are not in the community. I just couldn't find anything to talk about with them. Like everything that I knew at that point was all like fight related. So then like coming back to the US and trying to see like some of my high school and middle school friends again, I had to kind of like turn something else on and be like, oh, you can just relax and just talk about other stuff that's like not so serious all the time.
I know. I think it's because we like every day it's just like Muay Thai, Muay Thai, Muay Thai. So that's like all we're thinking about, and that's all we want to talk about. Yeah.
It consumes
it really does.
It's like especially when you have a fight.
That's
like,
all you
for
think
me,
about.
It's like I wake up and I'm like, oh, I'm fighting on this day. I have to like get this done and do this, and everything you do, it's because of that.
Oh my god, that's so
Yeah.
relatable.
Have yeah. Have you tried to get any of your friends into the gym to like try to train with you or?
I have. They're a little about it, but I have some coworkers at my job, and they actually did a private with me once, and I taught them some things, and they absolutely loved it. Yeah, they loved it so
Oh,
much. So yeah, yeah,
that's
they
awesome.
they want to learn, and I think
Yeah.
it's really good for them to learn because they are young girls, and the world is really really awful. So it's really good for younger girls to learn how to defend themselves. So I'm happy to teach them stuff like that in Muay Thai because it's not only a sport, but it can really help you in the real world if anything ever happens.
Does that ever give you like a sense of confidence when you're just out and about in a regular setting that you're like, oh, if someone like tries to start anything with me, I know how to hold my own
Yeah,
ground.
I think it does for sure. I'm already a pretty much like an aware person. So like when I'm already out, I already like think about the possibilities that could happen, and if something feels like shady to me, I'm like, I'll look around. So I'm kind of like always ready for whatever happens at any moment, but it does give me like some calmness that I know that like if anything ever happened, I would know what to do. So, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool. Um, let's talk about like the opportunities that you've seen grow, I guess, within like the female fight community. Like, you said that when you were a kid, you had all these
Mhm.
fights all the time. It was super easy to get
Yeah.
fights. At what age did you find that it was really hard for you to get matched
I
up?
was like 14, 15, maybe
And this was
mid-teens.
around the time that you were doing IFMA, or?
I did IFMA at 12. That was my first IFMA, and I was in Thailand for that one. And then after that, I was 16 when I did my second IFMA tournament. But like in between that, I just like didn't have that many fights. I maybe had like one or two in between those, which is kind of no, not one or two. I had a couple, but like there was one year where I only fought like once, and it was a really bad year because like the more you stay out of the ring, the more rusty you get, and you get so especially for me, if I stay out of the ring, I when I get back in it like a year later, it just I don't I could perform so much better if I stayed fighting, stayed in the ring. So definitely that at that time it was really hard um, to get fights. I kind of at that moment I already fought everyone that I could possibly fight, like in my division, my age, whatever. Now that I'm adult, it's a little easier to get opponents. I'm already gonna have two, and I just turned 18, so in a month. So I guess that's pretty good. But yeah, at the time when I was like 14, 15, it was really hard to get fights at that moment, and I kind of didn't train as consistently as I should have, and kind of fell off. Um, but I think IFMA in Turkey in 2019 really like got the gears going again, and I got back in the ring more, and yeah, I since then I've had quite a few fights, so I plan on staying consistent so that doesn't happen again, so I don't get rusty in the ring again.
What was it?
Yeah,
You said you were 12 when you went to Thailand for
yeah,
IFMA, the first
yes,
time. What was it like being like? So was it your first time traveling that
it
far as
was.
well?
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh my God. So it was like a whole lot of things. It was like international
yeah.
tournament, and then so what was that whole thing like? Like I can't even imagine what a 12-year-old's brain would be thinking about.
It was crazy, honestly. I mean, but it was a really good experience, and something that I'll never forget. Obviously, the travel there was long and tiring, but training with the USA team was so cool. And this tournament that I went to in IFMA 2016 in Thailand. That was actually the first youth IFMA tournament. So I got the opportunity to fight at the first youth tournament on Team USA, which is like so cool. Like that's so cool.
I remember all the social media posts of Summer Bronco, the elbow queen.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's when I was like, oh, well, this girl is something special. And then, I mean, you were pretty much just going in there, like, no one knew who you
Yeah.
were until you started beating up all these
Oh yeah.
international people.
Yeah. No, it was a really cool experience. And I was young too, so I feel like being that young and like going to Thailand at 12, like no one does that. Like, like especially like in America, like no one does that. So it was crazy. Um, Unfortunately, my coach wasn't there. He couldn't go. So that was like the first
Mm-hmm.
like tournament fight that like my coach wasn't in the corner. So I guess like the only difficult thing was that because my coach and I have like such a great bond, especially like in the ring. So like the fact that he wasn't there, that like energy was like, you know. So yeah, it's a lot different. Like especially having someone else in your corner and not like your coach. It's different. Like it's weird. But yeah, IFMA I only had 2 fights. My bracket was kind of small cuz like at IFMA like some people have like 5 6 fights if they have a big division. But I only had like 4 girls in my division. So I fought the first round against Belgium and I beat her. And then the second round I fought against Thailand and it was a close fight, but I mean, she just kind of outkicked me and just pretty much just outpointed me. But
Yeah,
it was
they're pretty good
yeah.
at that at times.
Yeah, yeah. But it was still a good fight. I think that fight was my hardest defeat. Like that's the one that really kind of hurt me, but at the same time like that fight I learned so much because I fought a Thai and I had to work hard throughout that fight, and even though I lost, like I think I worked hard. Like I didn't give up the entire fight. I kept pushing. We kept exchanging back and forth. So I mean, that's like a really important fight to me because I learned so much from that.
How different was it fighting in those tournaments compared to your experiences before fighting in the U.S. and maybe like just single
It
fights or
it's a
other
lot different,
tournaments?
especially when I fought in Thailand. They had like the drums and they were playing the live music and like all the countries surrounding the ring, they were like, chanting and screaming and obviously rooting for their country or whatever. So it's definitely a different feeling, but it's like it's a really cool feeling to see like other countries like from all over. It's just really cool. Like I keep saying it's cool, but I mean it really is though. Like just seeing like other countries come together representing their country, and there's different like fighters from all over. It's kind of surreal, like just to see all that unfold.
Yeah, and how do you think the scene from back then, that was 6 years ago, until now, how do you think it's different?
Wow,
Do you think
6 years
it's
ago. That's a long time.
I know.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think, like I said though, like Muay Thai is evolving. Like it's evolving every day. Like I feel like the way Muay Thai was then is a lot different than it is now. Like the way people fought,
Hmm.
the way people moved around the ring, it's much different. So I think it was
So how were people fighting back then, in your opinion?
um from me personally, I feel like I kind of evolved um with the sport. I feel like now that IFMA has been around, especially for youth, I feel like it has changed the scoring in America. Especially with the tournaments, we use the IFMA scoring now because that's how we're fighting because we want this generation to fight in IFMA youth or the next generation. So we want the tournaments to be like that, or even like adults. Same thing. Like we want them to get them to fight in IFMA. So like if you go to like TBAs, uh, other tournaments, they'll have the live scoring. Um, and I just feel like the scoring's different than maybe what it used to be, especially in America. So I feel like in that aspect, it's definitely evolving. Um, and since we're scoring it the way that causes people to fight differently. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I remember when I first started going to fights and I first started fighting. I'm not gonna name the sanctioning body, but you can
Yeah.
probably figure it out. It just seemed like
Mm-hmm.
aggression was like the only thing. Like the person just coming forward, rolling with their punches, not throwing a single kick, not blocking anything, would just win the fight just because they're walking forward, not
Yeah,
necessarily
I know what you're
landing
talking
anything.
about.
But yeah. Seeing you fight a couple weeks ago. Summer fought a couple weeks ago on the Freedom Fighter promotion. It was the first ever
Yeah.
promotion. She won versus Julie Cohen via decision. It was a really, really beautiful fight. And, just seeing you on that card and a bunch of other people on the card just demonstrate like good Muay Thai in comparison to some of the fights that I've seen when I was starting out. It was like night and day. Yeah. So, yeah, do you have any other fights coming up soon before the year ends?
I do. I'm also fighting again on Freedom Fighters against Amy Duke, a really good opponent. I'm really excited to be fighting on Freedom Fighters again. The last time I fought on it, especially for the first one, I thought it was a really good show. I think it was really organized,
Mm-hmm.
and it was really cool to be a part of it, and see different athletes, some teammates that was on IFMA with me. It was really cool to see everyone. But yeah, I thought the show was really really professional, really organized. I had so much fun being on it, and I'm really looking forward to being on it again and fighting for a title.
Yeah, you got the crowd going with your white
Oh
crew.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that was really really cool to watch. You brought a lot of like the culture and spirituality into that space, and you just felt the whole energy change when you were doing it. And me, I was asked to be a commentator like the day before, so then me getting to like just watch that whole
yeah.
thing and just really watch how the energy of the room changed with every single fight. It was really really nice to see.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, and I remember before your fight, I asked you as part of like, me trying to prepare, doing my homework
Yeah,
as a
yeah.
commentator. I asked you like, about like your training and stuff, and you mentioned you're like, I made a lot of sacrifices to be here. I gave up a lot of things, and you definitely did mention like missing out on a lot of things with your friends. What were some of the things that you like missed out on during your last fight camp, or some of the things that you will miss out on this upcoming fight camp?
Um, Last fight camp, I definitely missed a few hangouts with my friends, and I know that's like probably not that big of a deal, but like it kind of is because I miss out on being with my friends, and like even though they tell me it's okay, I have this like part of me that like I feel like I let them down again. You know what I mean? Like I'm not there again. Um, I've missed out on some school stuff. Um, I definitely like want to get more involved with school, but like I don't really have the time to be more involved with like school activities and stuff. So definitely miss out on that, and definitely this fight camp I definitely miss out on extra school stuff. I definitely miss out on being with my friends, being with my family. um, I miss out on, if I keep fighting throughout November and December, I miss out on Thanksgiving, and I miss out on all
All
the
the
holiday
holidays.
treats. So I mean that's a big sacrifice, missing out on all my, yeah. And I feel like through the holidays that's the worst. Especially in fight camp, that's the worst.
It's
Yeah.
tough. I always feel bad for the fighters who have to sit through all the
Oh
Thanksgiving
yeah.
meals and all the Christmas and
Oh
New
yeah.
Year's parties and just be like, no, I'm just gonna have my
Oh
grilled
yeah.
chicken and
Oh,
my
the grilled
salad.
chicken.
I'm like,
Yep.
oh, bless you.
Yep. It's tough.
And what day is your next fight against Amy
It's
Duke?
November 20th, 27th. I think the days are still being worked out. I'm not actually sure. Yeah.
Okay, got it. So it's sometime towards the
Yes.
end of November. And do you know where that fight
New
is?
York. Queens, New York.
It's gonna be in Queens,
Yes.
New York, where I am. So I'm gonna be there, either as a spectator, commentator, or maybe I'll even try
Yeah.
out it myself. We'll see. Yeah. So Summer, I'm just gonna wrap this up. It seems like, our discussion on like the fight life balance, even though it's tough for you, you're doing something that works for you, and you've got such a supportive team, family members, friends around you that, even though you're spending a lot of your time just focused on one thing, they're very understanding about it, and they're always there to welcome you whenever you're ready.
Yeah, for sure.
So Summer, do you have anything to plug? Like, how can people find you on social media? How can they talk to you?
Oh, yeah. So I have Instagram. My @ is summerb_ESMT. I also have Facebook, but I feel like no one uses Facebook nowadays. So, yeah, I have Instagram. And yeah, just to wrap it up, one last thing to say is that all the sacrifices are worth it in the end. That split second when, the fight is over and you did what you did in the fight, you think in your head, yeah, I put in the work, I deserve this win, I deserve this fight, I deserve where I'm at right now. So everything that you're doing at that moment is worth it in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. It feels really nice to win, but also just really nice to
you put in the work. Yeah.
Everything you're doing, you put in the work, and the people that you train with, you didn't let
For
them
sure.
down. Okay, so I'm your host, Angela Chang. This is our first ever episode of Muay Ying. Muay Ying is on Instagram as muay.ying. If you enjoyed this episode and would like more information on training, fighting, preparing for your trip to Thailand, yada, 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 visit muay-ying.com. We also have a Patreon account if you'd like to support us financially. If you can rate, review, share this episode, we would greatly appreciate it. It will help this podcast grow. And thank you so much, Summer, for coming on to talk to me.
Thank you for having me.
No problem.